here at the end. This is story time with Elf. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this pretty good. So now, I don't have anything prepared. I'm kind of just going into this like pretty blind. So it's not really an AMA because I'm just gonna like say one thing. So, what I need you guys to do is like I need you to like pick a segment of my life that I should talk about, because there's like when I'm like younger, or like recently, or like when I was in China, or like I need you guys to just like give me a sort of like a segment. Future. Yeah, I'll talk about the future. This stream is gonna be huge, and we're gonna have like thousands of people in here, and this is gonna be like awesome.
We already did the how did you meet your boyfriend?
Oh, yeah, we already done that one, unfortunately.
Let's go with the first time you ever went to an amusement park.
Amusement park? These guys are saying China. Look, we got Zed
Right.
says China. We got When You're in My Homeland. I'm gonna talk about China. All right, so I'm gonna give you one like segment of the China story. Okay, so China was like I lived there for a year, and I was an English teacher, right? I did English teaching in China. And that was like a year ago. Well, 8 months ago, I came back. So I was over there for a year. And the scariest thing ever about that, and I have to say, like, it really was, like, freaking crazy, because the first time I'd moved away from my family, like, I lived with my mom before I went to China. So the first time I lived away from my family, I lived in, like, a country, like, a gazillion miles away that nobody was ever going to find me. If I got, like, shanked in an alleyway or something, I was just going to be dead and gone. So, we went, I went on my own there, and the only contact information I had was, like, when I arrived in China, the girl who was supposed to pick me up in Shanghai airport, like would have a sign, right? She'd have a sign that said, like, my name on it. And that would be it. Like, that's the only contact information. I have her cell phone number, but I don't have a Chinese cell phone, so there's no way I can call her or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm arriving, and I just got to find this sign, like, the crowd. It's not that hard, because there's not that much English in the signs. It's all, like, Chinese and stuff. So you see English, and you're like, oh, my God, there's a word I can read. And then, you go for that. But on the plane ride over, I was freaking mortified. Like, I was the most scared I've ever been in my entire life, like, sitting on that plane going, like, what if I can't find her in the airport? Like, what am I gonna do? How are we gonna do this? What is my plan for when that happens and that eventuality? I'm a naturally nervous person. I get very, very, like, anything that I do, like, for the first time is, like, super nerve-wracking. Like, for instance, in League, I get ladder anxiety when I play ranked. But anyway, so I got there and everything went fine. I found the sign, perfect, done, easy. But then she's like, oh yeah, and my like liaison was like, oh yeah, we gotta pick up another person. We got a second person to pick up, and I'm like, all right, cool. So we stood around in the airport for a little while, and they were on like a flight after mine. So we're in the airport for a little while, and then their flight came off, and we didn't see them. They weren't there. They didn't come. Nobody came up to us. And she got a phone call like a little bit later. It was like, oh, where are you? I don't know. I'm at a payphone, like, in the airport. So somebody, like, right after me had the thing that I was scared of had happened to them, right? And they'd gone to a payphone and, like, tried to call the phone number that they had. So I'm looking around, and the liaison person hands me the phone because I speak better English, right? And the person on the other end is panicked, and, like, they don't really know what they're doing or whatever, so they're having a hard time. So this girl, I hear this girl on the other end of the phone, and she's like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, where can I meet you guys? Like, I'll come and find you or whatever. And I'm like, okay, so where are you? And I'm like, she's near the conveyor belts or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, look towards the gate, right? Like, right towards the gate, okay, where you came out of. Because there's only, like, the one nearby. So if she's nearby, she's going to see me because I'm there. And I'm like, and I say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand at this gate, and I'm going to jump up and down. Like, I'm going to jump really high in the air and just, like, stick my arm up in the air and just jump up and down. And if you see me, like come over this way, So I'm standing there in the middle of Shanghai airport at, like, 11:30 at night, jumping up and down, like, trying to like like this white kid in the middle of like a bunch of Asian businessmen just like jumping up and down going like, I'm over here, come find me, I'm over here. Like first thing I do in China is just like make a nuisance in the airport. But anyway, she found me and her name was, what's her name? Tiffany. Yeah, Tiffany.
Of course it was.
She found me. Well, she was from California or whatever. She found me and we were good. And then we had a 2-hour train ride to get to the town that we were living in after that. And we were two of only like 6-ish white people in the entire city of 3 million. So that was fun after that. But those are other stories. So there you go. There's a section of story time with Elf, like a little bit of China lore. Maybe I'll talk about more pieces of that later in the future and so forth. But are you guys interested in that at all? Like me as a person and stuff that I've been through and whatever life stuff. Is that am I wasting my time just like yammering at the screen?
That was really interesting.
Do you guys actually
funny.
Actually care?
/ slow clap.
More story time. What's your question, Anarchy?
No, do not answer though. What kind of porn do you jack off to?
No, I'm not gonna. No.
No, please don't.
I don't need to jack off to porn. I have a boyfriend. I live with him. You think I need to jack off? You're joking.
Bow chicka wow wow chicka wow wow chicka wow wow.
But yeah, so I can do more of that in the future. You know what? I'll give you guys a bonus one. A bonus one for the first time. I'll give you a bonus one if you're interested. So let's see. What can I talk about? Okay.
Come on.
So I arrived in this town, and the town that I lived in for 6 months was called Jin. Let's see if I can pronounce this properly. My Chinese pronunciation is pretty awful. So if any of you speak Chinese, I don't know if you'll, but here we go. The town is called Zhenjiang. And in English, that would be spelled like Zhenjiang, right? And I lived there for a while, for 6 months. And when I arrived there, from this like train ride, it was like 1 a.m. and we were like pulling around, whatever side streets and back alleys and whatever to get in the taxi from the train to the residence that we'd be living in. And in the residence, there were 2 other people. And these 2 other people were, I don't know if I want to damn them by telling you their names, but Terry and Nick. And they were, in respect, a tiny Scottish girl with like the biggest attitude you've ever known because she's Scottish. I mean, and Nick was Scottish, like Nick was like this tall British guy, and he was a lot quieter and stuff. But Terry was kind of in charge of like the apartment and the social group at the time. She'd been there for 6 months already, so me and Tiffany were like all disoriented and destabilized, and she was like, "Yeah, I've been here for ages. It's fucking great." So that's cool. But anyway, as we were pulling up towards this place, I was going like, "What the fuck? What is this place?" And our apartment building, and I kid you not, I shit you not entirely, our apartment building was literally next door to the prison.
What?
The prison. The prison. The Chinese guy prison was right. I could look out my window at the wall of the prison. That was all that was there. It was just a wall.
What?
Okay, and a little path that went by the side of the prison. And every morning at like 5 a.m., there'd be like a patrol of like guards who go around the wall, right? And these guys were like an alarm clock because they were fucking loud. They were like walking along, then going like declaring stuff, and then like turning, and then walking back the other way. All that shit. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, we lived next door to the prison. It was like, where do you need to go? The prison. I mean, when you're in the taxi, you ask like, where do you need to go? Well, I need to go to the prison. And I mean, you have to say that in Chinese. I can't remember the word for prison, but I had it like I had it in my coat while I was in China, like 6 or 7 cue cards that all had like various what you call it, like Chinese phrases on them, so I could like pull them out and just like show them to people, like they were written by my you know, like liaison person, and it was just like, okay, well I need to take the bus to go to this place. Here, the bus, like, you know, whatever. Prison, there you go. And I would show people these cue cards, and that's how I'd get around. One last thing about China for you guys. In Zhenjiang, we were lucky enough to like be involved with a group of students from the university who were like Indian. So Indian and African students who like spoke English. No white guys though, just Indian and African. But they had connections at one of the clubs in Xinjiang. In fact, there were a bunch of clubs in Xinjiang that we went to like after hours, so to speak. And we basically drank as much alcohol as we wanted for no money. I didn't pay a single dime for alcohol while I was in China, like the whole time I was there. You could just, because I was a white guy, I could just go into one of the clubs in Xinjiang and be like, hey, I'm a white guy. And then be like, drinks coming. Just, you bring me the drinks. So, you know, that was pretty cool. And it doesn't take a lot for me to get really smashed, like hammered. I'm a tiny guy, and I don't have a high capacity for alcohol. So there were like shirtless incidents in clubs and stuff in China. That was, I only vaguely remember these things because Terry like told me about them afterwards. The Scottish girl I was telling you about, she could knock them back, but you know. That's that's a little bit of the China stuff. I'll tell you some more stuff maybe tomorrow. I'll do another segment on some other stuff because I got really good stories about China. Oh my god, I have tons. Tons and tons and tons. Yeah, it's an experience I wouldn't trade for the entire universe. Like that 1 year was worth like you know, the 10 years before it, like in terms of stuff that I went through. I already did the giveaway today. You're too late. You're late. I did it already. Sorry. Snooze, you lose. Did I eat sushi? That's Japanese. That's the wrong country.
I want to go to Japan.
I did, however, have these awesome. What are they called? In Chinese, I think they're called baozi, baozi, which are like buns with like stuff in them, like meat or spinach or whatever the fuck, like. And if you wanted a specific one, you had to ask for the specific thing. Or you just get like an assortment of random baozi with like whatever the fuck in them. At least that's what happened to us. I liked roll baozi, which is like meat baozi. Like beef, I think. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, this is just like me trying to like relive my China thing. It's really
the things you learn.
Really, really awesome. But yeah, so the first segment was in Xinjiang, and then I lived in Shanghai for 6 months. But like I said, I'll get to other stories in the future. For now, I will leave you guys at that. Come back, play some more League with me, and I'll regale you with various whatevers while we do so. And have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.